FM Stinger.
Retraining a player. Who's it for? Why is it useful? Why should you do it? Let's have a look. First bit of advice is, when you're looking to retrain a player, you're better off doing it if you're in a long-term save, so a long-term club. There's no point trying to retrain a player if you're jumping from club to club, because you're not going to have the time to get it done. At the moment, one of my main saves is Earthquake. I'm resurrecting Darlington. I don't have a lot of money, so it's an ideal scenario for me to retrain a few players to cover some basic positions that I really need covered. Now, you can retrain players whatever their age. Probably not if they're over 35, but you get what I'm saying. But the best time to do it is undoubtedly when they're younger and you can influence and basically shape their future career. There's a great deal of satisfaction you get when you retrain a player into a new position and he starts kicking ass in that role and builds a career and ends up being worth millions. Now, what this video may do is it may make you look at players slightly differently when you first get them. It's very easy to pigeonhole a player on their position or role, judging by what the game tells you they play. But hopefully this will open your mind up a bit and you'll be able to judge for yourself what position they'd be better at. Okay, this is Jonathan Obank, and he's the guy I'm going to use for this example. I got him a few seasons ago from Bromley's youth team. Best scenario is it's from your own youth setup, but sometimes if you're in a club like we are, like Darlington, where your youth setup isn't very good, sometimes you've just got to go out and look for some new ones. Okay, so look at his attributes. What do you see? It may surprise you to know that he came into the club as a striker, an out-and-out striker. And looking at his attributes there, his finishing's not great, his acceleration pace weren't great, which is kind of vital in this day and age, especially down in the lower leagues. Positioning, okay. Heading's good, but there's still some gaps there. For me, he didn't seem as a standout striker. Looking a bit closer, you can see that flair stands out like a sore thumb, technique, long shots, vision, agility. Now, unless I'm going to use this guy as a false nine, which in lower league management isn't advised, for me he's a creative force, a drop-off force, either in that hole behind the striker, but I've also got an eye on him going a little bit further back and dictating the play from further out. Why further back? Well, alongside those attributes, let me get your attention towards these, his traits, player traits. Tries killer balls often. That's going to be wasted as an out-and-out striker, and dictates the tempo. Now that's the key one. He's dictating the tempo. You can't really dictate a tempo from up front, can you? He's going to be ideal, I think, further back, either behind the striker or from the centre of the park as a deep line playmaker. So that's what we did. Season 1, we retrained him as an advanced playmaker in the hole there. Now what you'll find is when you retrain someone in a different position, they won't suddenly come up with that role and duty as their only position. It'll do attributes and characteristics of other roles as well, which is dead handy. So we retrained him there as an advanced playmaker. As you can see though, his 3-star ability is for attacking midfielder and on ganache, don't even know if I'm saying that right, as well as the advanced playmaker. So he's going to be good in all 3 of those roles, which is an added little benefit you get. So after season 1, he was ideal in that role. Great, right? Not so great for me though, because I'm not really playing someone in that position. But what that's then allowed me to do is, now that he was familiar with this role here, then I can train him there in a centre midfield role, which I think will be his long-term position. Rather than jumping from there straight to there, we've done that one first just to get him more familiar, because it's more advanced, so he's more used to it. He'll transition smoother, and then we've started to move him back into that midfield role. And obviously this is how you do it. You go to your training positions on your development tab there. So initially the first season we put it in there, so we did attacking midfield, advanced playmaker, on attack, and that covered the attributes needed for that role. Once he was fluid in that role and he played often in there, by playing often, because he was young, he was playing a lot of games in under 23s to get him used to the role. Once he was mastered that role, the following season we have started to retrain him in the long-term position as a deep line playmaker on support. So it's going to focus on those roles, those attributes and characteristics to help him master that position. He's getting there already, he's nearly there. He's nearly in full green, the holy full green, and he's getting there. Now to help this along, you remember his traits that I identified in the first screen. So on his overview screen there, his player traits, tries killer balls often, dictates the tempo. We've also started a new trait train. If you can see that, likes ball played into feet. So that'll assist him in dictating the tempo and controlling the game even more when he gets that trait. You combine those 3 traits together, you can have a hell of a deep line playmaker. One last training tip, just to assist it along a little bit more, is mentoring. Stuck him in a mentor group. So I've got a few mentor groups here. Now this one is down the bottom here called Midfield Create. There's only 3 players in it. There's Obank and 2 midfielders, one of which is this lad, Danny Williams, already a deep line playmaker. So I've got him in the mentoring group so he can learn traits, learn skills off Danny Williams, and hopefully become as good a player as he is. That's only going to help it along. Mentor groups are a sneaky little insider tip. As I said at the start, there's nothing more satisfying than creating a player, basically not from scratch, but moulding the clay, building a player into the position you want to be. Then you've got an eye on him being your club legend, right? Unless you do it so well that they come sniffing. They've come sniffing, and Crystal Palace came in with a £900,000 bid. My board, being the tiny board we are, wouldn't refuse it. And he's gone to Crystal Palace. But, final little tip here, if that happens to you, and you're in negotiations, just try and bleed it dry, try and get the best you can, the best price obviously, but get yourself a loan back clause till the end of the season. Invariably they're going to do that because they're buying him for the future. So at least you can get a bit more mileage out of him, all your hard work, get him back for the season, which we've done. Just so happens since he's come back he's been bloody terrible, but I'm sure he'll sort that out.